Please join us 1 week from tonight for the next episode of Anne of Green Gables. Also, mark your calendar for the evening of Saturday, March the 5th. That's when KTEH hosts the Bay Area premiere of Anne of Green Gables, the sequel. Anne has blossomed into a young lady by this time as her story continues. That's Saturday, March the 5th at 7 o'clock on Channel 54.
On the next Wonderworks, Anne finds a friend, enters a three-legged race, and goes to school.
Carrots! How dare you!
Part 2 of Anne of Green Gables on the next Wonderworks.
Channel 54 gratefully acknowledges the support generously provided by members of the Production Fund who have helped make possible the outstanding programs produced and broadcast by KTEH. Production Fund members include Amdahl Corporation, Advanced Video Systems, Unisys, and the Rotary Clubs of District 517.
In Hawaii, there are more than 6,000 species of plants, animals, and insects found only in the Hawaiian Islands. Celebrate the flow. It was the movie that transformed the Queen of the Silver Screen into a real-life princess, Grace Kelly, in her final film, The Swan. Then discover why she gave up the stardom of Hollywood for the throne of Monaco on Grace Kelly, an American Princess. An outstanding day's entertainment. Watch Sunday, March the 20th. And coming up next, we present episode number 2 of Anne of Green Gables on Wonderworks. Quality viewing for the entire family, made possible by your pledge of support.
Last time on Wonderworks, Anne Shirley, an orphan, was taken in by Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert, who expected a boy.
It's a girl. I can see that. Where's the boy? There weren't any. Just her.
Accepted for a trial period, Anne is on her best behavior. Until...
Awful heart. Her hair is as red as carrots.
Carrots! You're a rude, impolite, unfeeling woman, and I hate you!
Aunt Shirley.
How would you like to have nasty things said about you? How would you like to be told that you're fat, and ugly, and a sour old gossip?
I am wicked and ungrateful, and I deserve to be cast out forever. What you said was true. I am skinny and ugly, and my hair is red. What I said about you was true, too, only I shouldn't have said it.
In part 2, Anne is allowed to go to a picnic, where she finds a friend, and enters into a race for boys. She meets Gilbert Blythe, who has a reputation for teasing the girls.
Carrots! How dare you!
Megan follows, Colin Dewhurst, and Richard Farnsworth in part 2 of Anne of Green Gables on Wonderworks.
Wonderworks is made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with additional funding from this station and other public television stations, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Here's a very important reminder that next week we present the final 2 episodes of Anne of Green Gables, and this Wonderworks double feature will get started an hour earlier than usual at 7 o'clock. That's 7 o'clock next Saturday night for the final 2 episodes of Anne of Green Gables. Then 2 weeks from tonight, the story will continue with part 1 of Anne of Green Gables, the sequel.
On the next Wonderworks, Anne forgets to cover the plum pudding. Saves the life of a sick child. And attends her first formal ball. Part 3 of Anne of Green Gables on the next Wonderworks.
Wonderworks was made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with additional funding from this station and other public television stations, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Now a look behind the scenes at the making of Anne of Green Gables, where we meet Megan Follows, the young star who brings the character of Anne Shirley to life.
When I really realized how much I wanted to do Anne of Green Gables, I started writing down on paper all these declarations. I put down, I am Anne of Green Gables, and I wrote all of these cards down, and I stuck them all over the house, on the mirrors and on the refrigerator. And I remember people were concerned that I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't be young enough. So I was writing, I am 12 years old. I had that all over the wall, and I am an actress who gives 100% of herself in auditions. I stuck all these things. And before I left, I read them all, and then I got on the plane to come back. And I was determined to get this part. At first, it was the young stuff that I was much more worried about, because it's the things I'd have to remember about what I was like when I was 12.
Thank you with all my heart.
You don't want me because I'm not a boy?
And a sour old gossip!
You don't want me to go, do you?
Please forgive me.
The best I can do is confess. All of a sudden, I just felt younger. It was just a whole attitude, just a whole change. As I got older and the corset came on, you have to hold yourself differently. You're sucking in here, and all of a sudden you're more aware of the fact that you look like an adult.
I wasn't meaning to be funny. Well, all right. It isn't offensive.
Never expected to beat you.
I prefer to make people cry.
Plenty of reasons why I won't go.
Shame.
I'd rather just be miserable. I guess where I think I'm closest to Anne is in the importance she sees in other people, and how much of her life is about being with people and sharing with them and making them a part of her life and touching them in special ways by just being herself and having confidence in herself.
I can't think of anybody in the world that could have played this part any better after I met her, you know, and she's Anne Shirley.
Everyone was overcome by my regal entrance. Thank you.
Regal my eye.
From the beginning, working with Megan for me was a joy. She was always right there for you in that character, which makes it very easy for you to. I finally have a very loving feeling for Megan, which makes it easy feeling that she is a kindred spirit.
I found that as I worked with Megan, she blossomed and grew. Once she found the hook to the character, she went away with it. Off she was gone. She didn't need any direction at all. She was just the character. And it was a marvelous experience working with someone like that.
You really don't want me to go, do you? I'd do anything for you, Matthew, if you really wanted me to.
Of course I do.
We can't let Mrs. Lynn be the cause of our parting. I don't have to be really sorry. I just have to remove the disgrace I brought upon Marilla's good name.
Don't tell Marilla that I said anything. She'll say I'm interfering.
Wild horses couldn't drag it from me.
Funding credits on the start of their programs? Yeah, the corporations really take care of KTEH.
Sorry, but that's not quite right. Here are the facts. Corporate support makes up less than 15% of KTEH's budget. By comparison, KTEH depends on its viewers for more than 70% of its funding. And here's another fact. If you watch and enjoy the programs on Channel 54, then you should become a member of Channel 54. Send your contribution to KTEH membership, P.O. Box 1030, San Jose 95108.
Last time on Wonderworks, Anne was blamed for Diana's condition.
She's drunk.
Anne,
The girls were forbidden to see each other, although they meet secretly and vow eternal friendship.
wilt thou give me a lock of thy jet black tresses?
But I don't have any black dresses.
Your hair. All right.
Anne's only consolation is school, where she meets her new teacher, Miss Stacy.
I want to look back on this class as being the brightest, the most imaginative, the most committed students on Prince Edward Island.
This time, Anne forgets to cover the plum pudding, saves a sick child, and attends her first formal ball. Part 3 of Anne of Green Gables on Wonderworks.
Wonderworks is made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with additional funding from this station and other public television stations, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
On the next Wonderworks, Anne has stage fright at her first recital.
I go up on that stage. Can't. I'll be merciless if I fail. I've never failed at anything, Anne Shirley.
Goes away to school.
I'm afraid for her, Matthew. She'll be gone so long. She'll get terrible lonesome. You mean we'll get terrible lonesome? I can't help wishing that she'd stayed a little girl.
And receives some startling news from Marilla.
What did Mr. Sadler want?
He once offered to buy Green Gables, and he's still interested.
Buy Green Gables? Marilla.
The conclusion of Anne of Green Gables on the next Wonderworks.
Wonderworks was made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with additional funding from this station and other public television stations, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Now a look behind the scenes at the making of Anne of Green Gables.
From the moment I became interested in the book and seriously doing it as a film, I knew that somehow we would do it. This is a story that doesn't need $10 million to see it done properly.
I need a teacher, and I'm sure they'll be glad to have you.
Oftentimes when things are tight and you don't have too much flexibility, you focus in on exactly what it is you need, and you go for the best.
But if we did keep her, I'd expect you not to interfere with my methods. An old maid like me may not know much about raising a child, but I know a darn sight more than an old bachelor like you. Oh, she could talk the hind leg off a mule. That's certain. Oh, wouldn't that be a change around here?
Anne of Green Gables was very tough only because we had locations that were out of town, from mud sequences to ball sequences in the same day. People flying in and out of town. Maybe it's a nightmare, but it makes life interesting.
A wonderful feeling of all these people working for one thing. It's such a wonderful story that everyone kind of connects with. And it's such a classic that everyone really wants to make it good.
But a lot of the look that was sort of in my head was from the country, because they were country people and I was brought up in the country. It's a lot of fantasy as well as, it's a mix of fantasy and reality, I tell you. It's, some of it is on period and other stuff is like a little off to the side, but it looks cute, so you do it, you know?
Because of the period, I wanted to keep a very natural look. In other words, instead of shading for someone who wants to look a little older, we wanted to have the color as a child would have it, which gives you your sort of apple cheek look. Plus hair, which was wonderful on this film, plus a wonderful cameraman and wonderful lighting. All these things together, costuming, I'm sure, also added to that difference in her age. I mean, it's quite remarkable. And then what Megan does is amazing. I really believe that little girl.
Overwhelmed.
It's an extremely difficult period to do with a low budget. It's a very busy, very cluttered period. It's a period that's extremely difficult to find artifacts for that don't cost a lot of money. And it was a matter of collecting and putting together and coordinating and trying to make it all look as good as you possibly can and establish the feel of the period more so than the exact replica of the period.
Hurry up, child. Just fixing Green Gables in my memory. In years to come,
I guess the main images from reading the book and from being familiar with the story were what you thought Green Gables itself looked like, what the exterior of the house looked like, and what the interior looked like. Mainly someplace that was very warm and very comfortable, and someplace where you would feel very at home and not want to leave.
The most important thing is the performance and the story and moving the audience. It was all there on the printed page when we started, but to see them perform that and to see the crew affected by it to such a great extent was a very, very moving experience. I think it was at that moment that I suddenly realized how very important the performance is. And without that, there is no film.
This has been a good experience, and you don't usually have a sentimental response to scripts. And this script, though, and the way it's being done, and Megan and Farnsworth and the actors that they have brought in that I've worked with are wonderful. I see them walk in here, and then I see them walk onto the stage, and there's, all right, we're back in time.
One of the strongest memories I'll take away is the very first day we started to shoot, which was just a wonderful moment of Megan Follows and Colleen Dewhurst walking down a road, and you suddenly thought, she really does look like Marilla and Anne of Green Gables. You know, maybe it's going to work.
Diana of the Lake of Shining Water.
For mercy's sake, child. You set your heart too much on silly names.
What should I call you? May I call you Aunt Marilla?
No. You can call me just plain Marilla. I don't believe in calling people names that are not their own.
You could imagine you were my aunt.
No, I could not.
Don't you ever imagine things differently from what they are?
No.
Oh, Marilla, how much you miss.
Community-supported Channel 54 with programming that enriches and entertains. Made possible in part by Verilink, providing innovative solutions in digital telecommunications. KEZR 106.5 FM, mixing the best variety of your favorite songs. And by the more than 30,000 members of KTEH.
Anne of Green Gables is back. No longer an awkward girl, but a mature young woman. This two-part sequel brings back all of your favorite characters from Avonlea. Colleen Dewhurst as Marilla.
You have been my comfort and my joy since Matt passed away.
Patricia Hamilton as Rachel.
Patience has ceased to be a virtue. I want this rumpus stopped right now.
Plus Dame Wendy Hiller as the eccentric Mrs. Harris.
Who are these rebel roses?
And Frank Converse as the dashing Captain Harris, who forces Anne to make a decision.
I would ask you to marry me.
To decide between him and Gilbert Blythe.
I've loved you as long as I can remember.
Megan Follows stars in the sequel to Anne of Green Gables on Wonderworks.
Watch 1 week from tonight on KTEH.
Have you heard this before?
I like KTEH, but I only watch a few shows a week. They don't expect people like me to become a member. The people they expect contributions from are the people who watch all the time.
Sorry, but that's not quite right. Here are the facts. Every program you see on KTEH costs money. So if you watch KTEH, even for only a few hours a week, you should help pay for what you like. And here's another fact. If you watch and enjoy the programs on Channel 54, then you should become a member of Channel 54. Send your contribution to KTEH membership, P.O. Box 1030, San Jose 95108.
Last time on Wonderworks, Anne attended her first formal ball, where she was ignored by Gilbert Blythe.
Good to see you, Rebecca. I'm your brother.
Good evening, Gilbert Blythe.
Tell your brother I'll be seeing him at the sparkling party.
She meets Diana's Aunt Josephine.
What is the meaning of this?
Anne also takes the test for the entrance to Queen's College.
You may now begin.
This time, Anne gives a dramatic reading.
Down like a dog on the highway. And he lay in his blood on the highway with a bunch of lace at his throat.
Goes away to college.
I'm afraid for her, Matthew. She'll be gone so long. She'll get terrible lonesome.
You mean we'll get terrible lonesome?
And receives some startling news from Marilla.
I never thought I'd live to see the day when I would sell this place.
Now the conclusion of Anne of Green Gables on Wonderworks.
Wonderworks is made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with additional funding from this station and other public television stations, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Please make a note that next week Anne's story continues on KTEH as we present the first episode of Anne of Green Gables, the sequel. That's 1 week from tonight at 7 o'clock. This is the kind of quality viewing that can only come as the result of your support of Channel 54. So if you're not a member, we hope that you will consider pledging your support sometime in the near future.
WonderWorks was made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with additional funding from this station and other public television stations, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Now a look behind the scenes at the making of Anne of Green Gables.
Very quiet, here we go.
And at the closing of the day, the broad stream bore her far away. And as the boat head wound along, they heard her singing her last song, The Lady of Shalott.
Cut. The way it was supposed to happen was there's like a beat before you actually get up. It's like you come out, that way you came out of it so quickly. Where did the beat go?
They heard her singing her last song, The Lady of Shalott.
This particular scene was supposed to have a very grand feeling to it, so I wanted it to be a fairly light-filled situation. What I'm lighting is lighting from outside into the interior, duplicating sun coming through windows.
And his rapier brandished high. Blood red with his spurs of golden moon. Wine red with his velvet coat. When they shot him down on the highway. Down like a dog on the highway. And he lay in his blood on the highway with a bunch of lace at his throat.
Actually, I've never been in front of a camera before, so it was straight from high school plays to this. And I remember my first scene was with Colleen Dewhurst when I walked in. And it was my very first day, and I had 3 lines, and I went over these 3 lines for 9 hours. I went over these lines trying to perfect them. And we were about to start the scene with Colleen Dewhurst, and she said, I don't think this is right. I think we should change it around a bit. So Kevin said, well, why don't we improvise it first? And I just got over these lines for 9 hours, and it was just like, improvise. All right, I'll go.
Good afternoon.
I'm Gilbert Blythe.
Yes. You've grown into quite a young man.
So you must be very proud of Anne. It's a real challenge keeping up with her at school.
Yes. Matthew and I are both proud. She has the talent to make something of herself. But she's still very young, Gilbert. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Many of the locations that we were shooting at had their own inherent problems in them and didn't always allow us the latitude of getting everything we wanted at one particular location. The train station, for example, had to be done in 2 different locations because of the difficulty that we had in finding an accurate 1890s train. We weren't even fortunate enough to find a period engine. So we simply had to use the period cars.
Look, I'll take it, Matthew. It'll be easier if I go quickly by myself.
Getting emotional over nothing.
Nothing. You both mean everything to me.
Come forward. Okay, move back into the spot. Okay, and then...
All this foolishness. Might as well kiss him, too.
Spencer made a lucky mistake, I guess.
It wasn't luck, it was providence. He knew we needed her.
Even with her queer little ways.
I loved her for them.
Channel 54.